Hello and welcome to this very spooky episode, episode 32 of the Family Geekery podcast. I'm Amber.
I'm Spooky Chris.
And I'm Spooky Danny.
Wait a second, I'm Spooky Amber. Okay. If you haven't guessed by now, I guess we're talking about spooky things.
Yeah, and we missed an opportunity to do this on the episode 31 for Halloween. But by the time this comes out, it'll be after Halloween.
That's already Christmas time. November 1st is the first day of Christmas.
And by the time this comes out, it'll be episode 32 instead of 31. We really dropped the ball on this one.
That's okay.
That's all right.
Planning.
So what kind of spooky stuff are we talking about today?
Movies, mostly. Maybe throw in some TV shows.
Yeah, so we all picked some favorite scary movies, and they can be scary or spooky or a combination of both. And I think we can just round robin these. What do you think?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
That way, if anybody has the same, we can discuss that together and then move on in the round robin. That way nobody gets stuck with all the same answers at the very end.
Sure.
So who's kicking this thing off? Or do we supposed to talk about any news or anything? We're supposed to do that, right?
Yeah, we're supposed to do that.
So any news or anything?
I've got to think.
On the topic of spookiness, I didn't say this last week, but I saw, it's kind of a newer movie. I think it came out last month, but I saw Smile, which is a newer horror movie that came out.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It was good. It wasn't like my favorite newer horror movie that I've seen, or any horror movie that I've seen, but if you're looking for a few jump scares and all that, it's pretty good. But the ending for me wasn't really that good, but it was a good movie, good experience.
I think that's common. They come up with something that's really creepy and something that makes for a good preview, but then they don't know how to finish it.
Yeah, it was a good idea. I think the cinematics were very good too.
Nice.
Cool.
I started watching a new show called, also kind of spooky, called Guillermo del Toro's Cabin of Curiosities. And each episode is kind of a mini movie. They're all about an hour long. And each one is directed by a different person. And I guess they're just based on short stories that Guillermo del Toro likes. And I think he wrote a couple of them. So pretty cool. So far, the third episode is my favorite. That's also I've only watched up to number 3. So.
And what is that streaming on? Netflix?
That's on Netflix.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
And I went and saw Black Adam.
Oh.
And I liked it. It was good. You go into a DC movie kind of thinking, okay, is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? But generally speaking, the DC movies of the individual characters have been great.
Mm-hmm.
Like Aquaman, Superman, Batman, all the mans, Wonder Woman, and then Black Goddamn. That doesn't work. I guess they can't call him Black Man though. But the movie itself was was pretty good. And the story was good, and I hope they continue that character on. They had a nice little end credit scene at the end. That was a pretty good little surprise that got leaked out. That the producer got really pissed off that it got leaked out, but Oof. It was still a good little cameo at the end. So let's get into the main topic. Who's gonna kick us off? We're talking about scary movies, spooky movies.
So I rated mine 1 through 5, 1 being my favorite. Did you guys do that also?
I did not.
Oh.
No.
Well. Okay.
Mine are in no particular order.
Me neither.
Okay. Well, sounds good.
You're an overachiever.
Kick it off, Danny.
So I started with one that was from my childhood, actually. I don't think it'd be considered a horror movie for adults. I mean, it could, but it's something that scarred, I think, both of us. And that's Coraline.
Oh no.
And if you don't know what Coraline is, it's a children's movie about a girl who is not very happy with her parents, and they move into a new house, and she finds this mini door that leads her to it's like another world, and she has another mother and another father, which are like picture perfect parents, but for some reason they have buttons for eyes, and those are a little creepy, and it took a very, very dark turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when that came out, it was like, hey, we as a family really enjoyed Nightmare Before Christmas, and this kind of has kind of that vibe to it. Let's
Hmm.
let's throw this at the kids and see if they like it. And yeah, it was not the spiritual next step from Nightmare Before Christmas. It was a little dark, but I liked it.
Yeah, really good.
Still very, very spooky, very creepy.
Yeah, and I think it's got kind of a cult following. Like it's hard to say that it's a cult following because it was so popular when it came out, but there's still a lot of people that really do enjoy it and I guess would have a cult following of it. I don't know.
Hmm. I see a lot of costumes still.
Yeah, yeah, still very popular.
Very cool. You going next, Amber?
Sure, I guess I'll just start off with Nightmare Before Christmas because we mentioned that one. That's one of my favorite Halloween / Christmas movies. You know, you never know when you should watch it, so might as well just watch it twice.
Year
Uh,
round.
yeah, but I remember I think that was the first ever movie I saw in 3D. I
Oh
don't.
yeah,
I think it was, and so it's very special to me seeing that in the theater, and I think it was just us two.
yeah. I forgot that they re-released that in the theater and made it 3D. That was
It
pretty
was really
cool.
special, yeah. And so it's literally my like second favorite movie of all time. So my favorite Halloween movie is Nightmare Before Christmas. And if you don't know what that is, then I don't know why you're here listening to this podcast because you should
That's
know what
right.
it is.
Press stop on the tape right now. Go grab yourself a laser disc of Nightmare Before Christmas and slap it in your laser disc player. I
but
doubt
it
you guys have never seen a laser disc, have you?
isn't that just a regular CD or
No.
DVD?
Well,
Oh.
it looks it's magnetic optical media like a CD, but it's the size of a record.
Oh, then no, I've never seen one.
Yeah, I'll show you one sometime. I still got some.
Nice. Well, that's a good one. Basically, Jack Skellington wants to spice up Halloween because Halloween's the same every year, and he finds that there's other holiday worlds and goes into Christmas Town, steals a couple ideas, and tries to turn Halloween into Christmas, or rather, Christmas into Halloween, and ruins a lot of people's day. But it's just a really good movie, really good music. Awesome. Awesome all around.
Yep, epic soundtrack.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so like I said, my list is in no particular order, but when you ask like favorite horror movie, scary movie, spooky movie, the first thing that comes to my mind is Nightmare on Elm Street,
Nice.
and that it, basically all the movies of my generation, you could almost say it's not just a movie, it's a franchise, right? Because all the big ones from my generation went on to make many, many movies. So when I say Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one was awesome, but it, as it went on, the story got better and better and deeper. So I'm just going to say that the whole genre of Nightmare on Elm Street is way up there on my list. And obviously the catching feature of that film is the main character, Freddy Krueger. He's just so iconic. The sweater, the hat, the claws. I mean, that was just awesome. He was scary. He was funny. It was gross. There was special effects of like brains and intestines and stuff like that. That was like a first for young kids like me. Um, the background story of him being like a normal dude that was torturing or capturing or kidnapping kids in the neighborhood, and the parents fighting back and killing him in a boiler room, burning him alive. That's obviously an awesome subplot that's going on. And then as that movie, as the franchise progresses and you see some of the backstory of why he became like a child abuser, then the story, like I said, even gets deeper, and they throw some religious cult stuff into it, and just all around great movie, great character, and that's got to be the first one on my list.
I've only seen the first one.
Oh, okay. So you'll have to see some of the later ones. The second one
Yeah.
is very similar. Second one's just all just straight up like let's scare people in their sleep type stuff. And then the third and fourth become the Dream Warriors and the Dream Masters or something. I forget what it is. It's when the kids start fighting back, and
Whoa.
you start to see some of his backstory being in like an insane asylum or something with nuns and all kinds of crazy crap going on. So cool. Let's go to your next one on the list there, Danny.
Okay. So the next one I have is the Saw movie series.
Oh yeah.
I remember watching the first one, and it was really good. And I think I've only ended up watching the first like 4 or 5, but I really liked them.
Only 4 or 5.
Wasn't there like 8?
Yeah, I know. But still.
I thought they're really good, and then like I heard like the first movie was on such like a low budget, like they only had like one room, or like they filmed in like that main bathroom scene for like the majority of the movie. I just thought that's really impressive because it's such a well-made movie even with that low budget, and it's still one of my favorites. And I like how it, like, they're each like their own individual like stories and like saw traps, but like the story continues throughout each of them, and like you see characters pop up from earlier movies and something like that, and I like that idea.
People survive?
Yes.
I've only seen the first one. And it was a long time ago.
Yeah, they start tying them together and it gets a little weird, but good movies. Good. It's one of those movies that, like, for 90% of the movie, it's just like, okay, we're just watching a movie here, and then for the other 10%, it's like, holy crap, that's disgusting, or that
Yeah.
if that happened to you, what would you do? That kind of stuff. But it's not like just nonstop gore fest. It's
Hmm.
very psychological, and it's thrill.
There was actually on Friday there's a gallery showing with a bunch of our artwork and stuff, and one of the display rooms was there's a, I think it was a student, and they're an actor, like, and they had something around their face, and there's just like a big boxy TV with that like gray like like screen on it, and a little like tape on the ground that said like play me or something like that. I thought that was
Oh
really cool.
boy,
I really like that. And it was like in a like a sink. Like it had a sink in the room. It was like tiled. Like it was like a perfect setting for that kind of display.
cool.
Nice.
All right, Amber, you're next.
All right. So I split this one into two because when I ranked them, but I'll combine them, and I thought of a fifth thing to talk about also. So, um, the Conjuring series, is probably my all-time favorite horror franchise. Conjuring 1, super good. Following, oh shoot, I don't know their names anymore, but the couple in the 70s that
Mhm.
would go and get ghosts out of people's houses. But really good movie. I loved the first one, taking place in, I believe it was Amityville. I believe it was the Amityville horror. And then the second one taking place in Britain, and that one's my favorite movie in the franchise, because they had a couple different scary elements, a couple different spooky ghost guys in that one, and I thought it was really well done. And then the third one, not my favorite because they kind of turned away from their classic horror thing that they had for the first couple of movies. But in this series, we also have like the Annabelle is in the same universe, and the Nun is in the same universe, and those are pretty good too. I don't think I like them as much as the first two Conjuring films, but really good. I love the like religion play tie to it, and super cool stuff.
Cool.
And we Danny and I like to watch those with our aunt, and it's really fun. We always, whenever we see her and there's a new a new horror movie out, we see that with her. So it's cool.
Yeah, it was that series was also on my list, so it's very good.
I've yet to see those.
They're the best. They're honestly the best.
Cool. All right. Well, I've got one similar to that, and that's the original Exorcist.
Ah,
And it's an old one, and it's like even older than I didn't see it when it was out. I didn't see it when it came out, or when I was young. I actually saw it. I don't know if it was the 10 or 20-year anniversary. They re-released it like on Halloween, and it was like a one-night thing at the local theater. And your mom and I went and saw it, and it was it definitely held up to its nature of being one of the all-time classic horror movies. It's one of the few that's won an Academy Award. Did you know that?
wow. No.
Yeah, I think one of the recent ones, Get Out. I think Get Out might have
Okay.
won one, but Exorcist was a first horror movie, because horror movies historically were, they weren't like blockbusters. It
Right.
was something that would play late at night on TV, and maybe have a short run in a movie theater or something. But Exorcist really opened up the world to horror, and it's so iconic. And it was one of the first like horror movies to use religion as the backdrop. They're going in to do, I think it's the retelling of the last sanctioned exorcism in
Oh.
the Catholic religion. And of course, it's been parodied so many times. The scenes have been parodied so many times, even all the way back in the 70s. I think Saturday Night Live did a parody of it. I think it was Richard Pryor. And the,
Nice.
the thing I remembered, I knew the quote from that parody. Like, I've heard it a million times. And then when I saw the movie, I was like, oh, this is where that comes from. And the quote was, and I can say it because the Saturday Night Live version is clean, but if you dissect the words, you'll understand the real quote. They were saying that the person who was possessed was saying, "Your mother sews socks that smell." So think about something that rhymes with socks. That's a dirty word. And think about something that rhymes with smell. That's a dirty word. And that's what the possessed person in the real movie was saying. So that was a little racy for its time, I guess. But I just
Is
remember
that
keep on hearing "your mother sews socks that smell," and then when I heard the real one, I was like, "Ooh, it's that." It's that saying.
is that the one with the TV and the little girl?
No, that's Poltergeist.
Oh, okay.
Same kind of time period, but yeah,
Okay.
different movie.
I don't think I've seen The Exorcist then.
Well, if you've ever seen like a possessed person with their head spinning around slowly. That's parodying this, because the little girl, who I think, I don't know, you keep on hearing these like, where are they now? Articles like, where are they now?
Yeah.
The actress, and you always hear about the girl having like horrible problems in life because the movie was just so horrible. Because there was a little
Oh,
girl that was possessed, and she's spitting up like blood or something, and her head's spinning all over the place. And in the horror movies, when the body just all of a sudden like goes rigid, and like you hear
yeah.
like bones cracking, and she
Yeah.
goes backwards into like a crab walk type thing. All of that came from this movie. so
Nice.
so that's why it's on my list. So
Nice.
Exorcist, got to go see it. All right, Danny, back to you.
I'm glad that you mentioned Get Out because Jordan Peele movies, more thriller than like horror, but I really like his movies, especially Get Out and Us. His
No
more
spoilers.
his more recent one, Nope, I wasn't as big of a fan of.
It was fun.
It was good. There was just a lot going on, a little disturbing, but I guess that's the point of it.
But it had
Um,
Glenn.
Yeah, it had Glenn.
Glenn's alive.
Well,
um,
it had a monkey.
That was my favorite part.
Oh my gosh.
Glenn versus Monkey
I related
versus
to the monkey.
Barbed Wire. Who did
Sorry,
better?
we
Monkey?
interrupted you.
Who did better, the monkey or the barbed wire bat?
Oh, I
Oh,
remember
oh
that.
no.
Yeah.
Oh no. Don't make me think about that, Danny. I'll cry. I'll cry again.
Um, but yeah, I really like to Get Out. I've seen it like 2 or 3 times. I think it's just a really good movie. If you don't know the plot, it's about this guy, and he's going to meet his girlfriend's family, and um, he's an African American, and his girlfriend is white, and her family owns like a big house, big field, big plot of land, and um, all of their workers are African American, and that kind of sets him off, and it turns a little dark when you realize why. And I think it's a really well made movie.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
Nice.
All right, Amber.
All right, my next one is Scream, which I think is another one that has set off a lot of parodies. I've not seen the Scary Movie franchise, but I believe those were like based to parody Scream.
Oh, absolutely. Well, they parodied all the
All the like
kind of scary
90s.
movies of the 90s. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
But Scream to me is like the epitome of scary movie. Like I don't know, it's so good. It's a classic. It's got a great twist at the end, which isn't a twist because everyone's seen the movie, but I guess maybe not everyone. I don't think Danny's seen it, but
Mm-mm.
it's got to be probably the best. I don't know. Maybe not everyone would agree, but I think a lot of people would agree that Scream is the best spooky movie. Very, very 90s. And the sequels are kind of good. I've only seen a couple of the sequels, and then I did see the recent reboot slash sequel because it's both.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that was good.
It was good. I really liked it a lot more than I thought I would. Just watched it on a plane ride. So, yeah, very good. And I would recommend those movies to everyone because they're so good. They're iconic. And you can just watch it again and again. Great acting, great villain, amazing.
They made so many of those and so many of the scary movies, like all in the same time period, that I honestly get them all mixed up. Like to include the actors and actresses, thinking like, Was she in the real movie or the parody movie? I get them all jumbled up in my head, but yeah, great movie.
And the start of Scream with Drew Barrymore, that's just the most iconic thing I can ever think of. Just scary horror movie. I don't know. So good.
All right, for my next movie, I'm going to go with Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, nice. That was one of my honorable mentions.
And it's on my list now. Granted, in this time period, in that modern, last 10-year type time period, I haven't seen a lot of the scary movies because I was raising kids. so even though we started Danny off with some dark movies, I guess, when she was a little kid, watching Saw movies when she was 11. But I haven't seen a lot of the recent ones. When I looked up on the web, I looked for the top 100 list, just to kind of jog my memory. There was a lot from the last 20 years that I hadn't seen. So I got a lot of catching up to do. But Cabin in the Woods we did see, and I think your mother and I might have gone to the theater for this. And if you don't know anything about it, you just walk into it knowing that's going to be a scary movie. And then it starts off as a scary movie. It's a bunch of people going to a cabin in the woods, and you think, okay, I've seen this before. A bunch of people go and they start getting killed one by one. And then it takes a completely weird, absolutely insane turn. And that's either going to make it 10 times better movie for you, or you're just going to absolutely hate it. And I think I loved it, and your mother hated it. But
yeah, she talks about how bad the ending is, but I love the ending.
It's just so insane. I mean, that's the only way to put it.
Yeah.
It just gets crazy, and I loved it. So gotta see that if you haven't seen that.
Well, I don't know if the ending, like the very last, you could probably skip the last like 5 minutes of it, but the like twist, I guess.
The twist, yeah, the story.
Yeah, I like where the story goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Very bizarre.
Definitely.
It's almost as if two different people wrote the movie.
Yeah.
and they didn't talk to each other, and the director just cut it right in the middle. But very good. So Danny, you're up next.
Cool. So this one's a kind of more recent one. It was released like a few years back, and it's The Quiet Place. I haven't seen the second one, but I thought the first one was pretty good. I feel like they did a very good job, like even with like a movie that doesn't have that much dialogue, it's still very entertaining to watch. And I thought the story was really cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
Didn't you guys start watching it? Didn't you and Mom start watching it?
Maybe I did see it. I don't remember. there was.
It's got John Krasinski and Emily, his wife in real life.
Oh yeah, we did start seeing that one. Like, if you made any noise, then something bad was going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think we started watching that one, but we probably didn't get through it. I'll have to go back and watch that again.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen it.
Basically, the wife gets pregnant.
Uh-oh.
Which, I don't know what you guys know about childbirth, but I heard it's pretty
painful. What do you know about childbirth?
I was just thinking the thing that happens after the childbirth is kind of hard to keep quiet.
They put it in the floorboards. Soundproof. Soundproofed floorboards, baby.
Oh my gosh.
There was an episode of MASH, and this is a little diversion from our episode, but MASH, which was a wartime comedy / drama, medical / a little bit of everything show that made it 10 seasons, and it starts off as a great show, of course, but then it starts getting a little deeper and deeper. And there was an episode where
Jump the Shark.
Well, yeah, kind of.
Oh, that's Happy Days, isn't it?
Yeah, that was Happy Days. That's where the term comes from.
Yeah.
But there was an episode where the main kind of doctor is on a bus, and the bus is like, this was the Korean War, so it was a bunch of Korean people on this bus, and it was like a local bus or something. So you got people on there, you got some chickens, and you got this guy, and all of a sudden they're like, the bad guys are going to find them if they make any noise. So they're trying to all stay quiet so that the bad guys, the bad soldiers, don't find this bus and attack it. And there's this chicken that just won't shut up, and the chicken's clucking and clucking and clucking, and the lady the lady's holding it is trying to keep it quiet, and the doctor is like really upset with her, like, because he knows he's a soldier, and he knows what's going to happen if the bad guys get there. So he's trying to get her to keep this chicken quiet and quiet and quiet, and he's telling this story in like therapy. So he's seeing a therapist and he's relaying this story. Well, at the end, you realize it wasn't a chicken; it was a kid.
Oh.
So it was a pretty powerful episode, and he
Just throw it in the floorboards.
yeah, when he realizes that the story that he's telling to his therapist, when he realizes that it wasn't a chicken, it kind of like really affects him for a couple episodes.
Oof.
Yep. Well, on that downer of a note, what's next, Amber?
My next one is called The House, and it's on Netflix. Came out earlier this year, I think, and it's a really cool, really weird movie that's in 3 parts, and each part is the same house, but like a different universe, a different time period. It's kind of cool, and it's all stop motion. So like the first part is like how the house was built, and it's these like felt people, what's it called, like felt knitting or felt needle, I don't know what it's called, but these people, and they're like poor, and the house is built, and then it gets really weird. And then the next part is this rat guy, and he's like renovating the house, and things get really weird. And then the last part is this cat girl, and she is like a landlord, and people are renting out the house, and there's like a flood, and it gets really weird. So it's a really cool story, and it's really, really creepy. Like each part of the movie gets really creepy, but there's like cockroaches in the rat part, and those like are really nasty, and that's like why I think it's a scary movie, because I don't like bugs. And the cockroaches are nasty, but it's just really interesting and really weird, and I really liked it. So that's my next one.
It sounds cool.
It is really cool.
All right. I think I'm next. And for my next movie, if someone ever asked me, it's one of those like icebreakers or whatever, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen? Or you always see that like on social media, like what's the scariest movie you've ever seen? You're supposed to reply to it. My answer would be Jurassic Park.
Oh.
And when I answer that, people are like, well, you know the dinosaurs were fake, right? Like, yes, I know the dinosaurs were fake. Even for when it came out, I think it was like 92 or 93 when it came out. The special effects were great, but that's not what scared me, right? It's not the fake dinosaurs that scared me. It was, I remember walking out of the theater and thinking, just being so scared that could happen. And by that, I mean, like, messing with DNA.
Science.
Right? We've cloned a sheep. We're not that far away from cloning other things. And it doesn't have to be dinosaurs. It can be, like, we hold too much power in that. And I think that's why they're kind of, like, shying away from too much experimentation with cloning. But
I mean, we're mostly doing that with GMO food, right? Like, I don't know, take some corn DNA, put it in the apple to make it grow in a different season or whatever.
So we're gonna have like a faraway island slash amusement park where there's
Yeah.
nothing but GMOs.
Yeah.
Come see my pickle potato. But yeah, I just remember seeing that and just thinking like, and I think that's exactly, as it came out, and obviously it's a great special effects slash dinosaur movie. That's what it turned out to be. But the author Michael Crichton, I think he wanted more than that. I think he wanted people to be like thinking behind the movie and thinking, oh my gosh, this is crazy that we could do this. We just stab a needle into Amber, not you, Amber, but stab a needle into some amber, get some what was it, mosquito DNA
Yeah.
and dinosaur DNA, and we can replicate it. So yeah, that's scary, and the real life
Real
psychological.
world
It could
implications.
happen, right? It could happen type thing. So that's my scariest movie ever. All right,
Nice.
Danny.
My last one is a TV show, and it came out a few years ago. Haunting of Hill House.
My favorite thing of all time.
It's a very good TV series. It takes place across, I think, like 3 timelines of each of the children being like young and then like maybe teenager and adults. Um, it's really cool because like nothing makes sense until like the very end, and still you'll have to rewatch it again to get
Yes.
everything else again for all of it to make sense. And it's very interesting and very fun to watch for the first time.
I could go on and talk about how good it is and how every time you watch it, you connect some more dots, and you don't even need to connect the dots to enjoy it fully. Like it's still really good watching it just once. Um, but like it's one of those more psychological horror shows.
Yeah.
Really, and it's got its fair share of like jump scares and stuff also, but just the storyline is so good, and oh my gosh, the actors are great. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
every all of those actors are young Luke, or like in
Yeah.
WandaVision. Oh my god, it's young Luke.
Mm.
Yeah. Even like the casting for the younger roles, like looking
Yeah.
like the older,
Mm-hmm.
and
So
then
good.
still being like amazing young actors and actresses.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. What if you only watched 2/3 of that series like I did?
And you should finish it.
I know. I need to start it over though because I forgot everything that happened.
Oh yeah.
I just know there's a house and it's on like Haunting Hill.
That's a good start.
No, that's the board game.
Oh, okay. All right, Amber.
My last one is the Purge franchise. And I really like these because the first one is really cool. You know, um, one day a year where all crime is legal, and the first one's more of like the survivor story, like the people who bunker down and defend their home. And I like that. You wouldn't expect that to be the first movie of a franchise where all crime is legal. But that one is super good, and I really enjoy watching it and rewatching it. But the ones after, I think I've seen the first 3 or 4. I don't know how many there are now. But the second and third ones, they're more like people going out and doing crime, and that's really cool. And in one of the movies, there's like a whole rich people gladiator ring where they bet on people to fight to the death, and that's pretty neat. Um, there's got to be one of those in every franchise.
You're starting to scare me a little bit, Amber.
But those movies are really good, and I wish I could see the ones I haven't seen, but I don't know where to stream them because I don't think they're anywhere besides like money. I don't know.
The first one was that Ethan Hawke.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that was really good.
yeah, and it's got the main actress from Rain, the show Rain, and She's really good in it also.
Cool.
The only thing that I've seen about the Purge movies is it was a YouTube video. I don't know if it was like I don't know who made it, but it was like how to profit the most off of the Purge, and it wasn't like robbing a bank or like stealing. It was going out and just collecting a bunch of body parts or like
Oh, that was I think that was Matt Pat,
I think it was too. And he
film
said
theorist.
like you would just collect all the parts of the dead bodies of what people like
Yeah.
killing each other, and you'd collect all those body parts and like sell them for science or sell them on the black market make money that way. I thought that was interesting.
I'm not
So
sure if that holds up because I think the supply and demand part of body parts,
Mm,
there would be a lot more
might be
supply
different.
than there is in a non-purge world.
probably.
Well, then you just freeze it until like halfway through the year when the purge isn't happening.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Everybody's got a freezer for just that reason.
Exactly. This is my liver freezer, and that's my kidney freezer. That's my toe freezer.
Again, you've put a little bit too much thought into this, Amber.
Halloween's the best holiday.
All right, so was that you, Amber? That was your last
Yes,
one?
that was my last one.
All right, so I'm going to finish it up. And I really wanted to shy away from just going Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, done. Just going with all the classic franchises. But I can't not do Halloween because that series was the one that me and all my friends were just like crazy about. The original Halloween, awesome. Second Halloween, awesome. Third Halloween, don't ever see it because it has nothing to do with the other two. It's a completely different story, but it's a good crazy movie. But then all the ones after that, follow the same storyline as the original Halloween. And I mean, you just can't go wrong with a good old Michael Myers, right? The epitome of dude walking slow, but somehow always being right next to the person that's running away from him. I mean, that's like the jump scare, like girls running away for like 5 minutes. The guy's walking after her, and then all of a sudden he's in the bushes right next to her. Like that's horror to find in these early franchises of movies. So Michael Myers, Halloween, gotta put that on the list.
Nice. Haven't seen a single one.
What?
I know.
I failed you.
Didn't even watch the new one.
I haven't seen the new ones yet. There's probably like 5 new ones I haven't seen. But the original ones, I mean, you know how like when Christmas comes along and you got to watch Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah.
And you got to watch, there's certain movies you got to watch the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. There's certain movies that you have to watch every Christmas. Well, the Halloween movies was like we had to watch every Halloween. Like even if we had to pull out the old videotape and slap it in, we'd have to watch the original Halloween movies.
Nice.
They were just that important to us. So cool. So we got our list done, but we got some honorable mentions, maybe.
Yeah, I had honorable mention TV shows, and so those are, of course, Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor, also really good. Did you see that one, Danny?
Not, but it's on my list.
Oh, it's so good. You should watch that one. Cabin of Curiosities, the show I mentioned at the beginning of the episode. And Black Mirror, not super spooky, but just like kind of like real world spooky, like if this happens, we're screwed. And one of them is really, really scary. It's Metalhead is the episode title, and it's all black and white, and it's this robo dog that's like trying to kill people, and And then, like a couple, like a year after the episode's posted, it's like China has now invented this robot dog to help the police, and it's like, okay, wait a
That,
second.
that's like all the Black Mirror,
Yeah.
like, because like the one on the social media one where you had
Mm-hmm.
like a score. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's kind of happening in China also. Hope
Hmm.
they're not listening to our podcast. Hope they don't shut us down.
The first episode of Black Mirror.
Oh no, 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 no. No, no,
Because
I'm so sorry.
the social media episode in my
Yeah.
high school English class, and our teacher said, "Don't watch the first episode, whatever you do." So I went home, I watched the first episode.
No.
Which
I
was the
said,
first episode?
"That's
The
enough."
British man with the pig.
It was like a mayor
Oh yeah.
blackmailed.
Yeah, I remember that one.
See,
That was enough.
I also watched the social media one, Nosedive, first, because for some reason on Netflix, they have the seasons like out of order. Like they advertise the most recent season, and then when you go hit play, it plays that most recent season, which like makes sense because they're not in any order. But then I was like, oh, this is season 3. Let me go to season 1. And I watched the first episode and then didn't watch Black Mirror for another year.
Yeah.
So really, don't watch it.
You have any other honorable mentions, Danny?
I don't think so.
I get to throw Friday the 13th in there because it's just so iconic. It got a little crazy. I think that series did jump the shark several times. And I think the first one came out, it was great. Scary. You got an iconic bad guy. You got kids getting murdered in the woods. It's got all the ingredients. And then they start trying to add backstory to it, and it didn't go quite as well as some of the other franchises that they added backstory to. So it got a little weird, but then everybody, and this is obviously before the internet, right? But everybody starts thinking or starts spreading the rumor, oh, they've always planned on having 13 of them. So then as you're like 4 movies in, you're like, how are they going to get this to go on another 9 movies? Like,
oh my gosh.
After the first one, you're like, oh, 12 more of these, awesome. And then after like number 6, you're like, are we done with this dude yet? He's died like 5 times. Like, how many times can we kill this guy? But as a franchise, it definitely belongs on the list.
Nice.
Well, this was fun.
I like spooky movies.
We'll have to do this every spooky season. Maybe next year we can do spooky games or something, like scary games.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Games.
Until Dawn, The Quarry.
Or we can go visit Amber in the asylum as they carry her away after listening to this episode. We can visit her. We'll do a location.
They'll never
episode.
stop me.
A location episode next year. We can put some spooky music in the background.
Nice.
But yeah, this was fun. So
I liked it.
Hopefully everybody has a fun and safe Halloween. By the time that you're listening to this, it would have already passed. So happy Halloween belated.
Yeah, hope you guys got some good candy.
Yeah, full-size bars.
Before you eat it.
Full-size bars, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to go. You find the house that gives out the full-size heart.
Oh, yeah. Or the house that gives out the Pokemon cards.
I got a hair tie once when I was a kid.
Got a toothbrush.
Like a barrette.
What?
I'll have to tell you that
Please
story
give
sometime.
edible things for Halloween. No weird things.
No barrettes, no hair ties.
Pretzels. Those are good.
Oh, yeah.
I hated getting pretzels for Halloween.
I used to like getting the small French fry coupon book.
What?
from McDonald's. McDonald's had a small French fry book.
Oh.
Which nowadays, that's like a $3 purchase for small French fries. So that'd be awesome if you got one of those. Like, that's better than a full-size Snickers bar. All right, well, we're going to wrap up this episode. We had fun recounting our favorite scary, spooky horror movies. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. Be sure to check out the the YouTube channel. It's growing strong. Come join us. Watch some movies. Watch some episodes. And other than that, until next time, peace out
and
geek
out.
You.
Nice.
That was bad.
Thank you for listening to the Family Geekery podcast. For more information, visit www.familygeekery.com. Don't forget to subscribe at your favorite podcast provider. And until next time, peace out and geek out.